You've obviously voiced the character a lot.
Yeah.
How is it different in this game? And what is it different?
The difference between a video game and a cartoon is you're always on a 10 in a video game. You're fighting for your life. You're beating somebody up. So the vocal endurance it takes to do a video game is much harder than anything else in cartoons, which is why, in a lot of ways, it's criminal that these actors aren't being paid more. The amount of money that this industry makes, they should be taking care of their voice actors more.
With you being a part of this, what was your favorite memory that you've had while actually doing your voices? Maybe an experience that you had on set.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, I've done it now for so long that early in my career, I hated being identified as Shaggy. I wanted to move on to something else. The older I get, the more I appreciate what it means to other people. And that's the best part. The best part is that you can walk into a situation and make a kid's day or make somebody's day by doing a voice, which is super simple. And that the power of that is really lovely. I mean, one of the most memorable moments of my life is I was doing press in London for Scooby-Doo, and we ended up visiting a children's hospital. And there was a little girl going in for a third open heart surgery, and I was walking by, you're basically in pre-op, and this kid wouldn't take her medicine that would sedate her to get ready for surgery. And there was a moment in which they were like, well, Shaggy says Shaggy talks to you in the voice, will you take your medicine? So there I am begging this kid in a Shaggy voice to take her medicine because she knew when she did, she'd be going into surgery again. And so as a dad, I look back on that all the time, and I literally walked out of the room and broke down hysterically crying because you're like, it's just so much. But the power of that moment for that kid, was really memorable.
Yeah. Seeing as how there's like a multiverse of other voice actors that do Shaggy, what made them bring you on specifically versus everybody else who's done it?
It's for somebody else to answer. I mean, I've done it now, except for Scoob for like the last 15, 16 years. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know why they hired me.
What brought you in to do this?
Well, they asked me. Listen, I love the part.
Yeah.
I mean, when somebody steps to my, when Scoob happened, I hated it. It hurt my feelings. I didn't think it was a great choice. I think that it was a mistake. I covet the part. I love my part. I will hold it for a long time until somebody's ready to come. Until I'm ready. Until they want somebody new, and I will happily hand it over. Because it's not my part. It's the world's part. It's Casey Kasem's part that I try to honor that will someday be somebody else's. I'm going to hold off as long as I possibly can because I get to do things like this and I love it. And I'm honored to be the part, right? So, that's my take on somebody else taking Shaggy.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, was the process of doing Shaggy for the game very different from how you've done it?
Yeah, it's super. Listen, video games are intense. They're just intense. Everything is like, you're, like I said, you're screaming. And it's a rough voice to do, it's right on the vocal break. And it's really easy to get vocally tired. And that's why when you get these incredible actors, like Tar is a legend. And the people that do it well are incredible. Like, there's a big part of my life, I'm like, I'll just go do voices, and I'll do cartoons when I'm not doing movies. And then I realized I don't have that skill set. I have a very specific skill set. I can do Shaggy. But everything else, I find, like, the people that do voices are incredibly talented. They're like, they work with only one tool. As an actor on set, you have 5 tools. I have, my body, my voice, my face, my eyes. Like, everything tells a story. But when you're doing a cartoon, you have one element. And the people that do it well are incredible. Frank Welker is a legend. Like, Gray Delisle is a legend. Like, these people are remarkable artists. Yeah.
What'd you have the most fun with doing the game?
Seeing it today is my favorite part. Yeah, because I've never, it's that thing where I do the voice once every 2 weeks for whatever, a commercial, a cartoon, the Super Bowl, whatever. You're always doing it. So they're like, hey, come do this TV show, or not TV show, this video game. And I was like, oh, sure, whatever. The day is long. The voice work is hard. So, it does, one zoinks to another zoinks, still a zoinks. Right? There's not a big difference. It's not until you see it in action that gives you any sort of satisfaction. So seeing it today was really exciting. And listening to Tony talk about it and how important it is to him to represent these characters correctly, to build cooperative gameplay. I mean, the way he was talking about it, I thought was really remarkable, which makes me excited for fans. It makes me excited for the game, and it makes me think that this game will be around for a long time.
So when it comes to game design, usually there's an audio bible of lines that you have to read. Did they give you any kind of free reign since you know the character?
Yeah, great question.
Or please stick to the script.
Listen, when you've done something for 20 years, generally I'll come in and say, hey, as I think one of the world's expert on one thing, do you mind if I will always do it as written, and then I will play. And those cadences, I don't think about them. You just go and things happen. In general, I think that creatives love it because you're embellishing what they've done in a really authentic way to what the character is historically. So I add all kinds of stuff. I always try to add stuff. And generally, people are happy.
So kind of touching on that, when you've done so many different versions of Shaggy, like a Mystery Incorporated, one of my favorites.
Amazing.
I love that.
There's a rumor that they may try to bring it back, which would be badass.
So
It would be funny if you already recorded it and
No,
you didn't know.
that would be good, actually.
when you approach each different version or whatever, does the voice director say, hey, we want Shaggy to be a little more like this, or is it?
That's a good question too. Yeah, listen. Everyone who's doing a cartoon or doing a creative project has their vision. My job is to fit into their interpretation of these characters. I mean, Mystery Incorporated was very different than who's whatever the last one was. Those are totally different iterations. So I always try to represent what they want while protecting a legacy character. Right? I mean, there's a lot of times I'll be like, yeah, he wouldn't say that. There was a lot of times, especially with Mystery Incorporated, there was, you're a jerk, whatever. There was times I'm like, he wouldn't say it. And you do your best to just sort of, like I said, protect the legacy.
Go ahead. So I can't believe we've gone all around this table and nobody has said Ultra Instinct Shaggy yet. What was your reaction to that, and what was it like to finally be able to bring that into canon?
Ultra Instinct Shaggy is the Mortal Kombat thing? Is that right? Or is that the meme thing?
Yeah, the
meme.
I'm only using 1% of my power.
Oh yeah, the meme. Yeah. Is that called Ultra Instinct Shaggy? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, the internet's weird, dude. I don't know. I don't know what people are doing. I don't know why anyone cares. Why that made sense to the whole universe, I have no idea. But it's not for me to judge, right? I think that one of the things I've learned over time with this character is that it's not for me to dictate what that character means to you or not. I respect and love how people find him and find the gang. And so if that makes people happy, then so be it, right? It's look, the difference now in my life at 52 than when I did the part when I was 30 is that I feel privileged to be in the story of the character. It's a privilege.
important is it for you after that 20 years that they just keep finding different ways to use this character? Like, I can't imagine you'd ever thought that, Shaggy would be in some sort of a game like this. How important is it for you to see them keep continuing to evolve this character into different things?
Yeah, it's funny. At some point, Casey, after I'd done the original movie, Casey was still doing the voice. And so I said in the most respectful way possible, because somebody called and said, would you do a cartoon? And it's like, as long as Casey is ready to move on, I'm happy to step in. In fact, I would love to step in. But not until Casey's done. And like 2 years later, they called me. Look, every iteration is, and I didn't understand how much that they do with the character. I had no idea that there's always something happening around these characters, and that's because the IP is beloved worldwide, right? I think that there's certainly North American specific characters that people like, but this storytelling is worldwide. And that's not, I never understood that. Look, I love it. It's, to be frank, to have a character, to be an actor that continually has an opportunity to come back and help feed your kids is awesome. Right? I mean, it's...
For some generations, you really are Shaggy to them.
Yes.
So that's super cool, and that also is a love of you as an actor, that they grew up with you being their Shaggy.
Yeah. And I try to constantly bring it back to Casey as much as I can. But yes, I do understand that. And yeah, and Casey was mine. But there is that thing where these generation of kids they grew up on that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Instinct Incorporated.
Yeah,
More.
amazing.